criminals don't sit still. They're employing new techniques. Our analysts need to be aware of those new techniques, and we need to look at how we target criminals using newer techniques. We need newer things to take us forward.
It's very easy to stagnate. IT is changing, the way in which crimes occur is changing, and if you don't keep on top of the new changes, you sort of fall behind.
An analyst needs to be pivotal to decision making. You need to be both competent in what you're doing and confident in the arguments that you're putting across.
The biggest challenges that our clients have been facing has been the previous lack of formal and accredited training that's been available to them.
I'd wish this had been an opportunity I could have taken earlier in my career. I didn't like formal education. I didn't like to be sat in a classroom looking at textbooks. I learn better when I can apply and add context to a situation. And the team at Intelligencia and the EPA providers were really supportive throughout. And I found there was a lot of elements throughout the learning that gave me an opportunity to remove some of my anxieties and build skills.
Intelligencia Training have been at the forefront of developing the UK's intelligence capabilities since 2016. And since the launch of the Intelligence Analyst Standard in 2018, we've successfully qualified hundreds of analysts.
And with the more recent introduction of our Level 4 Counter-Fraud Investigator Apprenticeship Standard, we now provide formalised, professionalised and standardised training for those operating in counter-fraud investigatory roles. This aligns with the government's counter-fraud profession.
When I started with the Shared Anti-Fraud Service, I started as a counter-fraud assistant with no fraud awareness at all. Being a mature person, I was quite concerned that my learning skills had probably not been used for many years apart from in a job role.
We work across an ever-growing number of sectors, from government agencies, local authorities, other public sector departments, the law enforcement community, the custodial sector as well, and then across into the private sector.
The apprenticeship scheme was starting to be in its infancy. We got in there right at that first stage. The approach that we had with Intelligencia was constant emails. We require X, we require Y, and it's a very professional, relationship that we have.
There's an awful lot of theory that you get taught as an analyst, and what the apprenticeship really provides is a way of taking that theory and applying it.
I've never really enjoyed learning that much. I've got dyslexia, and that can affect it's less spelling, more kind of like memory. Learning in this way, like you going over it and over it, applying it to work kind of situations, it's really helped the information sink in.
I've done other types of training before where we've done like a crash course, whereas this has been much better because I've been able to pick up all my learnings and the knowledge and then taken that forward in my day-to-day work plans.
This model where people can have a day a month where they have a taught lesson and then they can kind of implement it in their own time makes it more flexible and more inclusive.
It's very apparent very quickly the benefit that you see.
It's not just about delivering the training for these apprentices. It's about incorporating that learning in their real world with dedicated coaching, mentoring. And this then gives the apprentices the confidence to bring that newly acquired knowledge and skills into the workplace.
My favourite bit has been the interviewing techniques and the interview skills. It can be really daunting thinking, what questions am I going to ask this person? You need to understand their behaviours, their motivations. The apprenticeship taught me how to structure my questions, how to put them in topic boxes, but most importantly, you build that rapport before the interview.
You start to see new ideas come into their practice. You start to see almost a sea change in the way they're thinking.
I did an interview today and I think back to the lesson we had on interview skills, and I still use that.
We all like to try something, but we all like to try something when there's no danger to it. And putting these learners into these scenarios, these real life scenarios, that's absolutely key.
We're sort of there to make mistakes. When we searched a vehicle for some evidence, I really enjoyed myself and I dropped a bit of evidence on the floor and the instructor picked it up and hid it. So at the end of the practical, we were counting the evidence, and I realised I'd lost a really important bit of evidence, and now I know I won't be making that mistake again.
The apprenticeship course put the bricks and mortar on and started to build that foundation layer up. Their confidence grew, and I could see that.
When there was a senior role that came across here in the shared and fraud service team, I actually felt confident enough to actually put myself forward and gained that in August last year.
We are hugely proud to see the success stories and seeing learners coming out the end of our process as confident, robust individuals. It's a massive, massive feel-good factor.
I think the thing that I most enjoyed was just learning so much, and that I was really surprised about how much I enjoyed learning it.
I started off as a senior officer and I'm now a team leader.
I think it's given the team more assurance that we're doing things properly and in accordance with the law, because I'm engaged in the course.
We're really passionate about delivering these programs in a way that gives people that edge.
The opportunity to formalise what I thought I could do, I now know I can do.
It's made them improve their work and support colleagues, but I think also it's made the analysts on the programme feel valued and invested in.
I never thought I'd be in this type of role.
Not only has it strengthened our approach to analysis and our capability within the direct team, actually it has influenced much wider in terms of analytical thinking and bringing that to the forefront of much of what we do.
It's helped me think differently.